43% of the ESPN 300 are found in the footprint of the Atlantic Coast Conference. Now, we did not mention Florida State. Willie Taggart's club is outside of the top 30, but it's not how you start. Taggart says it's about something else.
It was great. You know, we had a big recruiting weekend last week, and I thought all those kids really enjoyed themselves. And like you say, there's some guys that haven't signed yet that will sign. We have today and tomorrow in this early signing period, and then you got some guys that's not going to necessarily sign a national letter of intent, but they're signing grade and aid and still be here in midway through. So there's a lot of young men that love Florida State. They wanted an offer from Florida State, and again, it's just about finding the right fit for where we want to go. But I'm excited about the ones that signed already. I think we have some really good football players that we've signed, and I know when it's all said and done, we're going to have one heck of a class and some guys that's gonna get in the fold.
That being said, the streak of 9 consecutive top 10 classes is in serious jeopardy. Andrea Adelson joins us now. Andrea, you were in Tallahassee at that news conference earlier in the week. What did you glean from any conversations you had with Willie Taggart about any level of concern he may have?
Look, let's remember here what a challenging situation that Willie Taggart faced when he got to Florida State. 2 weeks to recruit a class that other programs had years to work on. And he doesn't have his full complement of assistants. Florida State's still working with the assistants on staff right now to go out and help Willie Taggart recruit. The other thing he mentioned was we weren't going to try and sign a full class on Wednesday. We were only going to sign a small number, and they've only got 16 to 18 scholarships available. So the key for him was go out, talk to the guys that had already been committed, but then look and see if there were others who had an interest in Florida State. That's how he got a guy to flip Isaiah Bolden, who was committed to him at Oregon, flip to Florida State today. They had 3 ESPN 300s either commit or sign. They're still waiting for A.J. Litton's national letter of intent to arrive. So the key for him is it's not how we start, it's how we finish. And he thinks they're going to finish really strong, and this is not the end. There's still another signing day to come in February.
And you mentioned it, too. When you're hired this late in the game, you're trying to still fill out your staff while you are trying to recruit these prospects for the early signing period. Where is Willie Taggart at in his search for a defensive coordinator?
It's a great question. He didn't really shed much light on that topic when he spoke to reporters in Tallahassee. They are playing a bowl game, Florida State is, with the old staff. And Odell Haggins is the interim coach, and he's going to be leading the team there. And so this is a program that's still very much in flux. The photos that Willie Taggart put out on his Twitter page when he went out to recruit were with Charles Kelly, who's the defensive coordinator right now, and Rick Trickett, who's the offensive coordinator, offensive line coach right now, who nobody expects to be back on his staff. So not only did he have to contend with trying to talk guys into coming to Florida State, he had to tell them, I don't know who your position coach is going to be yet, but don't worry, I'm going to do the best job that I possibly can to hire the best coaches for Florida State. So he wasn't so much selling himself or the coaches. It was more about selling Florida State and come play for us, come play for a proven winner, come play for a place that wants you and wants you to play right now.
Andrea Adelson with the latest on Florida State in the ACC. Thank you, Andrea. Just a handful of players signed with this Florida State class so far as they look toward February. But one of those players, Tom Van Haren, who did sign was ESPN 300 defensive back Jaden Woodby, who really it didn't appear to be on Florida State's radar until late in the process. Former Ohio State commit. What's the latest? How did this come about?
Well, yeah, you're right. It happened really late. He was committed to Ohio State, and I think once Taggart got on staff, he was able to spend some time, evaluate who he wanted, and Woodby was one of those guys that they needed to get him on board. And as Andrea said, I don't think they need to fill this class up. They've got time to really figure out what the needs are, where they can fill the scholarship spots at. And I would say outside of Tennessee, not even including the 2 weeks that he had just from the new coaching change, outside of Tennessee, I think Taggart probably has one of the most uphill battles of any of these new coaches because of the situation he came into. You look at Jimbo Fisher and the coaching search that happened with Texas A&M. It was drawn out. There were rumors that Fisher was going to take the job at A&M. Prospects that were committed to Florida State heard that. They backed off their commitments, and now Taggart's left with really a little bit of a mess that was created by that search. So I don't think it's reason to panic. You look at the depth chart, Florida State has a good foundation on the roster. DeAndre Francois at quarterback. If you can keep him happy, James Blackman got some experience this season as well. I think they've got a good foundation where Willie Taggart is right. That's not just coach speak by him. I think he's telling the truth. He doesn't need to panic. He doesn't really need to go after and just try to fill spots with bodies. They need to be strategic, use these next few weeks in January very, very wisely to fill the right spots, to fill out the signing class.
Yeah, and Jaden would be one of those guys, and he even compared himself to Derwin James, calling himself Derwin James 2.0 a while ago, and so he gets this offer and is headed to Florida State. Those are some high words, but when you're a defensive back, you got to have a little sense of confidence. Thank you. Todd Van Haren. Let's look at some other classes here. These are the ESPN 300s in the signings and their overall commits. Louisville, Manuel Allen committed to SC, then Nebraska, then Louisville. Did not sign yet. He has not signed yet.
He's getting around to it.
It's coming. It's coming. Trennell Troutman did sign, top 20 corner for Louisville. From St. Thomas Aquinas, North Carolina. De'Ami Brown, Jordan Adams, top wide receivers. Christian Meadows, one of those guys for Florida State, offensive lineman, has not signed as of yet. Virginia gets a quarterback, and Brennan Armstrong. Duke, four-star quarterback Gunnar Holmberg out of North Carolina in that class as well. And a school like Florida State, who sits there at number 36, is thankful that there are more fish out there as they are looking to sign more, and they just signed A.J. Litton.
Good.
Litton,
I think.
And Litton out of Maryland, who just signed. So two of the top corners in this class.
Yep, Florida State just kind of going to be bleeding into the dead period here till the the early part of January. Hopefully get their coaching staff settled, then all of a sudden hit the ground running so that the Seminoles can close it out strong in February.
9 straight top 10s, certainly in jeopardy with Florida State.